Hi everyone and welcome. My name's Daniel Ott. I own True North Tiny Homes. We exist for the sole purpose of helping you to downsize your home in order to upsize your life. Today I want to take you through our signature method, UpSizeDown, which is designed to set you up for success, to thrive in tiny living. We have identified 5 steps in order to help you succeed and thrive in tiny living. And they start with a mindset, and that includes simplification and education. We then go into design, build, and impact. So let me break these all down for you. We start with simplify. To move from a large house into a smaller house, you need to simplify your belongings. But more than that, we've identified that you need to set your mind up for simplification. If your mindset is not in the right place for surviving and thriving in tiny living, it's not going to end up well for you. So we want to set you up in your mind. Simplifying your life not only pares down all of your belongings to be able to fit in a smaller space, but it also sets up priorities for your future life. What is truly important to you? What do you really need? What do you not need? We're working with someone right now who already pared down 6 months ago, and going through it again, they've identified that they still have too much stuff, just based on the lists that we've given them and helped work through. Now that's going to look different for everybody. The example I like to use is a kitchen. Someone may be a chef. They're going to need a bigger kitchen. They're going to need more cooking stuff. That's going to be their priorities of what they need to thrive. Someone else might eat out 5 times a week, and we've had people on both sides of that spectrum. And the people who eat out say, well, all I need is a small bar fridge and a little sink beside it, and I'm good to go. So simplification looks a little bit different for everybody, and we want to help you to walk through that process to see what it means for you. The second step in our method is educate. This goes both ways. First, we want to make sure that you're educated enough on how to survive, how to thrive in a tiny space, how to cook in a tiny space, how to live. But we also want to make sure that you're set up to be able to educate your friends, your family, your peers on how you're living. We often find that one of the big things that's stopping people from moving into a tiny home is the stigma about it. Often we have 20-somethings coming to our factory to look at some of the tiny homes, and they bring their parents along to convince them that this is a good idea and to allow them to do it even if it's on their property, which often happens. But we have to do this education process of our friends and our family and our parents to say, look, living tiny isn't that bad. We're not living in a trailer. We're not living in a space that's too small. We actually are living in a space that's perfect for us. So we want to make sure that you're well equipped to be able to find the information that you need in order to, say, live in it legally as well. Where are you going to put it? How do you look for that sort of information in the province, state, country that you want to live in? What does that mean to you? What does that mean to the people around you, the government around you, your neighbors? We want to equip you with being able to find the right information to survive and thrive and not have to worry about anything. The third step in our method is to design. We often have people coming to us that have sketched their own designs, and there's always stuff missing. So we want to set you up to be able to know ahead of time the information that you're looking for. Coming from a design background, it has very much helped us in being able to educate people, see how I use the other part of our method in there, to educate people on how design fits into the function of life. We say that good living is a function of design. It's a very important process in the build. We're not just building a home. You're not just building yourself a home. You need to put a lot of thought into how it's designed to make that work. For instance, if you're looking to legalize this in a certain place, you need to go through what the design parameters are of that place. How big does it need to be? Does it have to be on a foundation or can it be on wheels? Is it a cottage or a full-time home? That might make a difference on how it's designed. Is it going to be by the water? That might make a difference in what kind of flooring you pick out, because that's also part of design. One thing that people often forget when they bring a self-designed layout to me is the mechanical room. And how big the mechanical room is very much depends on what sort of systems you're putting in. If you're doing an in-floor radiant heating system, the boiler needs to be quite a bit bigger than just a regular water tank. You need to have the space for that. And this is one of those things that's often overlooked. So we want to set you up with all of the different parameters you need for design. The fourth step to set you up for success is to build, which is the only part that a lot of people think about. How much can you take care of yourself though? How much do you need to outsource to other people? It's very important to think through all of this stuff. What we see before us right now is a lot of the different components of build. We've got our heating in the floor. We've got plumbing lines happening. We've got electrical, and of course, obviously the framing that we can see. There's a lot of intricate details in all the little steps of building. So if we can set that up properly in the design, maybe you can take care of build yourself. But maybe you need to find a builder in your area that can take care of parts of it for you. Maybe you want a shell built and you're just going to finish it yourself. Or maybe you're just looking for a builder in your area. What does that mean? Who is a good quality builder? What makes a good quality builder a good quality builder? Are there any in your area? Maybe you might want to get it shipped from somewhere else, from someone else who's building. These are all different things that you have to really think about in the build process. How much of a part of it do you want to be? I myself have been in the building industry for about 20 years, and my dad was in the building industry for 20 years before that. So I have a big background in it. And when I started building my own tiny home, the first one that we built as True North Tiny Homes, even I had a steep learning curve for all the different things that are involved in building a tiny home. Everything that I built, I tore down and built a second time just to get that first one off the ground. So how much more do we have to set you up to be able to do that properly? We're trying to build everything to the Ontario Building Code so that it can be legalized as a house anywhere in Ontario. And being the strictest place in North America to build, if we build to the Ontario Building Code, we can ship our units anywhere. So this is one of the considerations that we go through. This is why we have 2x6 framing instead of 2x4. The last step of our method is called impact. Again, this has a double meaning. We want to set you up to be able to impact your own life. That's the whole downsize your home to upsize your life. But we also want to set you up to be able to impact the world at large. So, how do you impact yourself? Well, obviously, you are living in something that you've designed yourself, perhaps, or something that's truly yours, for sure. And you can live in a really cool space. I love this home. This is just, yeah. And maybe it's because I helped design it, but it just feels good. So I'm impacting myself. Yeah, another great way is that living in a tiny home or a smaller house impacts your finances in a really good way. And now you have all this extra time, this extra money to spend impacting your life in other ways. You like to travel. Use that extra money and time to travel more. You like dogs. Use that extra time and money to spend on your dog. And I like to spend my extra time and money on my boat. I also travel and have dogs, but I love my boat. And spending time working on the boat on the weekends is great, and I love that, and that's impact for me. But we also want to set you up to impact the world. Now, if you don't want to impact, if you're not setting yourself up to purposefully impact the world at large, you're going to do it anyways, because living in a tiny home uses less resources. It uses less resources to build the home, but it also uses less resources in operating the home. We use less electricity. Many people choose to go solar, so now you're using even less electricity from other sources. You use less water. You use less cleaning products. You use less everything. You buy less because you can't fit more stuff in your home. So you're going to impact the world at large anyways. But you can also take your spare time and your spare money and use that to impact the world through giving, through volunteering for other places. At True North Tiny Homes, we've decided to impact the world by donating to 2 separate causes. So for every tiny home that we sell, we first donate to Creating Roots, which is a not-for-profit that is building tiny homes for former foster youth. The other cause that's close to my heart as a sailor is the ocean. So for every tiny home sold, we also donate to 4Ocean. And for every $20 that they receive, they remove another 1 pound of plastic from the oceans. And they have many crews working around the world pulling millions of pounds of plastic out of the ocean. We believe that every business should do business for good. And as the UN Global Goals point out, 1% of your revenue should be going to good causes that impact the world at large. But personally, we also want to set you up to be able to impact the world at large. And don't forget, also impact yourself. And that sums up our signature method that's designed to set you up for success in living tiny. Remember the 5 steps: simplify, educate, design, build, and finally, impact. We're going to expand a bit more on those 5 steps as time goes on, and in the future in the following videos below. While we're setting you up to be able to do this by yourself, to go through this method, or by using other people's help, we'd be more than happy to help you out ourselves at True North Tiny Homes through any one of or the whole method by going through our proven process using workshops. So to start that process off, we'd love to see you at one of our monthly webinars. So remember, I'm Daniel Ott. This is UpSizeDown, where we turn housing on its head.